Okay, welcome to the deep dive.
Hello.
So this is where we take a stack of sources, it could be anything, articles, research notes, stuff you've shared with us.
And we really get into it.
Yeah, dig deep to pull out the most, crucial bits, the fascinating insights, trying to cut through all the noise.
And the idea is to help you feel genuinely informed, right? Not by overwhelming you, but by focusing on those key nuggets from the material you provided and, well, why they matter.
Exactly. And for this deep dive, we're looking at excerpts from a source called The Cost of Everything. It's quite a powerful piece, really focuses on this young woman, Lena.
Yes, Lena. She's introduced as, 24? Ambitious? Bright? And she has this very clear dream opening her own design studio. You get that sense of drive straight away.
You really do. And the setting is the city that just sounds demanding, relentless, always needing more time, more money, more energy.
Right. And Lena's right in the thick of it, juggling 2 jobs, cafe worker, delivery driver, plus online business classes.
The source mentions this quiet hunger for more she has. It feels very relatable, that pull towards something bigger.
It does. But the source immediately throws this conflict at you.
Yeah.
She has this huge dream, this hunger, but, and this is a quote, life didn't run on dreams, it ran on bills.
Oof. Yeah, that lands hard.
And that's the core tension, isn't it? The dream versus the grinding reality of expenses.
So the source uses her story to ask this bigger question. What's the real cost of chasing a dream? Or maybe just the cost of everything, because it's clearly not just about money.
No, it's time, it's relationships, it's your own well-being. The source actually poses this question early on, kind of leaves it hanging. What will it cost me in the end?
And that question just echoes throughout, doesn't it?
It really does. It becomes the heartbeat of her journey.
Yeah.
So I guess we should start where she starts just completely immersed in that constant financial pressure.
Okay, let's unpack that. The source really details the sheer weight of it all. Not just rent, but electricity, water, Wi-Fi. All those things you just have to pay. They pile up.
Yeah, the description is so vivid, like her fridge being a graveyard of leftovers and expired hopes. That phrase really stuck with me.
Me too. And little moments like counting out coins just to buy an apple or skipping lunch again. But she keeps up this front, right? Smiling through it.
It highlights that invisible effort, doesn't it? The struggle people hide.
Definitely. And there are a couple of specific examples in the source that just hammered home how fragile her situation was. Remember the one about her shoes?
Oh, yeah. The customer at the cafe, just casually, why don't you get new shoes?
And Lena smiles, gives some polite answer, but inside her head, it's instant calculation.
$60. That's half a week of groceries.
Yeah.
It just shows you instantly how every single dollar is allocated. There's zero wiggle room.
Zero. It's pure necessity driving those thoughts. And then that scene where her card gets declined for eggs, something so basic.
The cashier is kind, says it happens, but you feel her embarrassment the way the source describes it.
But what she does next is incredible.
Instead of just crumbling, that same night, she goes out and does 3 extra delivery runs.
In freezing rain.
In freezing rain, just to make back the money for that pack of eggs. It's such a stark picture of the immediate physical grind tied to such a tiny financial slip. Shows her grit, but wow, it's punishing.
It really is. And the source notes she wasn't complaining. Complaining felt like a luxury. She just kept moving, calculating, sacrificing.
And that internal motto she had, I'm not poor, I'm investing.
That's quite something, isn't it? A way to reframe the present hardship, to endure it.
It is investing her present comfort, her present security, really. But even with that mindset, the source keeps bringing back that question, that doubt underneath.
What will it cost me in the end?
Exactly. The city, the dream, the bills, they're all demanding payment. And she's wondering if the price is just too high.
Okay, so that relentless financial stress is the base layer. Next, the source digs into the choices she faces, this kind of battlefield, and the sacrifices start piling up.
Yeah, battlefield of choices is how the source describes her mornings. Not big moral things, but these agonizing little decisions every day. Which bill absolutely has to be paid? Can I stretch the food another day? Skip class for a shift?
It's this constant low-level warfare against scarcity, always trading one necessity for another.
And then that precariousness explodes with that eviction notice.
Oh man, finding that under the door. The source describes just this wave of sheer panic washing over her.
Totally understandable panic. But what's amazing, again, is how fast she shifts gears.
From panic to planning.
Right. Lists, calls, overtime, figuring out who she can borrow from. It shows that drive, but also just how close to the edge she is. Always.
One missed payment away from disaster. And right then, another tough choice lands in her lap.
The freelance design project. It's the answer to the immediate rent crisis, the income she desperately needs.
But the source is clear. Taking it meant sacrificing sleep, class time, pushing herself closer to burnout.
It calls the decision painful. Even though financially it seems obvious, she knew the cost.
And you see those costs mounting immediately. The source talks about nights getting shorter, her body feeling weaker, even her dreams starting to get fuzzy from exhaustion.
She's missing calls, dropping off the map with friends.
And this is where you see the toll on her actual passion, the design work, that initial spark.
It starts flickering, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Under all that pressure, she starts questioning if the dream itself, the studio, is just a luxury she can't actually afford.
Because, as the source puts it so starkly, every hour spent on passion was an hour taken from survival.
That line just crystallizes it, the impossible trade-off.
And right around this point in her story, the source includes this encounter. A stranger at the cafe gives her this piece of wisdom that just cuts right through.
Yeah, that was really powerful. This woman sees Lena sketching, notices the intensity maybe, and just says something profound.
She says, sometimes the cost of what you want isn't just money. It's the moments you miss, the people you lose, the parts of yourself you forget.
And then the key part. But the hardest choice is deciding what you're willing to give up and what you won't.
Wow. That feels like the source stepping out and speaking directly.
It really does. It forces Lena, and us really, to think about that non-monetary price. What are you sacrificing beyond the financial? Your connections. Yourself, what's the line you won't cross?
That's the question, isn't it? Makes you reflect on your own life, those invisible trades you might be making when you're laser focused on something.
Mm-hmm. And that leads perfectly into the next layer. The source explores the emotional cost, the relational cost, which it says often creeps up quietly.
Yeah, this isn't the sudden drama of the eviction notice. It's more like erosion.
Exactly. The missed calls from family, sister, mother that she just doesn't return. Forgetting a friend's birthday. Always saying no to invitations. Texts piling up unanswered.
You get this sense of her becoming more and more detached. The source describes it as an ache deeper than just loneliness, like being disconnected from her old self, her old life.
And that feeling really comes to a head with the message from her best friend, Maya.
Right. Just simple. Where have you been? We miss you.
And Lena sees it, wants to reply, but she just can't. She's paralyzed.
That paralysis says so much. That's the moment she's really wrestling with it, isn't she? Am I trading friendship for ambition? Is this success worth this isolation?
Yeah. The source really emphasizes that emotional cost, how it was slowly chipping away at her happiness, her sense of who she was, She remembers easier times laughing, connecting, and they feel like a different life.
And she looks in the mirror and sees the toll, the weight in her eyes.
And with that comes this really chilling fear the source mentions. The fear that some debts, those lost moments, that deferred love, maybe they can never be repaid.
It's a heavy thought. And for a while, it seems like Lena accepts this as the necessary price. The dream requires everything.
Until the turning point. The moment the source says shattered her illusions, that hard work alone could buy the future she wanted.
This is where everything shifts, the phone call. Her grandmother is critically ill.
It just stops her cold.
Ugh.
All the bills, the shifts, the classes.
Mm-hmm.
None of it matters in that second.
And the source highlights her grandmother was the one who first encouraged her drawing, her creativity.
And the realization hits her. She hasn't been home in months. Always too busy, always prioritizing the grind. And suddenly the cost of that absence is just stark, clear, and unforgiving, as the source puts it.
You feel that guilt, the rush to get there. The city she usually battles just becomes a blur.
And the hospital scene. It's written so tenderly. The smell, her grandmother's voice holding that fragile hand.
And she just sits there for hours, the source says, not working, just being present, listening to old stories.
Moments that no amount of overtime, no amount of money could ever possibly buy back.
That's the core of the realization she has in that room, isn't it? The absolute, undeniable truth.
Yeah. That the warmth of a hand, being there, a proper goodbye, these things are utterly priceless. No success, no dream achieved can substitute for them. She thinks about all the moments she sacrificed, truly believing the grind was worth it.
And seeing the potential loss of this connection, suddenly the cost of her ambition feels unbearable.
But crucially, the source notes, her dreams don't just evaporate. The ambition is still there.
It just shifts.
Exactly, it shifts. She realizes that chasing success at the expense of these fundamental connections leaves you hollow, which raises a new question for her, and maybe for all of us.
Can you have both? Can you pursue big dreams and maintain those deep, vital relationships?
It leads her to make a new kind of promise, not just about the studio, but about finding a different path, a balance, valuing the relationships as much as the results.
And the source says that in that clarity, she felt peace for the first time in ages. A peace from understanding what's truly irreplaceable.
Which brings us to the final part of her journey and the source this process, because it is a process of finding that balance and really redefining success for herself.
She gets back to her apartment and everything looks different. The familiar mess, the evidence of her hard work feels alien.
Yeah, something fundamental has changed in her perspective. The city's still buzzing, still demanding.
But she sees it differently now. She notices not just the drive, but also this undercurrent, this quiet hunger for balance, for meaning, for connection in other people too, like her own need reflected back.
And her actions change immediately. She puts aside the design plans for a bit, and instead
she starts drawing faces in her notebook. Her grandmother, her mom, her friends. It's such a clear symbol of refocusing.
Prioritizing people. And that leads to reconnecting properly with Maya.
Over coffee, and they have a real conversation, honest about the struggles, the distance.
And Maya gives her that amazing advice.
You don't have to carry everything alone. Sometimes asking for help is the strongest choice of all.
Which just completely reframes Lena's whole approach, right? Strength isn't just solitary sacrifice.
No. And you start seeing these small but really profound shifts in her daily life. Saying yes to things sometimes, making dedicated time for family calls.
Cooking for herself again, laughing more, resting without that constant guilt.
Setting some gentle boundaries at work, saying no to extra shifts, making space for simple joys walks, sketching just for fun.
The source is realistic. It acknowledges it's not easy. The old fears pop up, falling behind, not doing enough.
But she has this new anchor, this reminder that success isn't a race to burnout. It needs care. It needs balance.
There's a journal entry mentioned that captures it beautifully. Balance isn't perfection. It's about kindness to herself, to others, to life's flow.
Creating space where dreams can actually breathe and love can grow without, being itemized on some internal invoice.
She realizes the terrible price she was paying with her health, her joy, her connections. And now she chooses consciously to pay with her heart, to cherish what can't be bought.
Her dreams are still there, but they've changed shape. Less about achieving alone.
More about building with others, anchored in connection.
And ultimately, the source shows her finding this different measure of success. It's not the bank balance or the hours worked or even the studio yet.
No, it's the richness of her days, the depth of her relationships, the peace inside herself.
So, Lena's story, as told in The Cost of Everything, really gives us this incredibly insightful look at how the cost goes so far beyond money.
Absolutely. It encompasses time, relationships, your own well-being.
Yeah.
And finding that balance, well, it's not a destination you just arrive at. It's ongoing, fluid, a series of choices.
It definitely leaves you with a lot to chew on, thinking about her journey and maybe applying that lens from the source material to your own life.
Yeah. What are you currently paying with? Your time, your focus, your energy, whether it's chasing a big goal or just navigating the everyday.
And maybe more importantly, what are those things you hold dear here? The people, the moments, the parts of yourself that are truly priceless, the things that, as Lena discovered, you might not be able to buy back once they're gone.
It's a powerful question to sit with. Definitely a key insight from this deep dive into the cost of everything.